welcome everyone to round 2 of the FIA Nations Cup for 2019. If you missed my first race and how I went, I'll pop a link in the description or maybe put a card up there or something. Keep an eye out, it'll be at the end of the video. Go and check that one out for sure. But we're here at Dragon's Tail for the M300 class. Try as I may, I did some laps in the KTM and I just couldn't get as fast as I would like, so I end up buying the Ferrari F50, which is what everyone else is in anyway. I'm fully expecting this race to almost be a one-make race. I don't know how it's going to go. I haven't done a lot of laps in the F50. In fact, you'll see from my odometer when I get in the race, I haven't done a hell of a lot. But nonetheless, we're going to see how I go. I just, in the last couple of laps there of practice before I jumped into this, managed to do a 46.5, which is okay, but I would have preferred to be a little bit closer to the 45s, if not, in fact, in the 45s. I would rather be in the 45s. So I'm a little bit underprepared. This is the third and final FIA race. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to do it today. So minimal practice as per the usual. I'm going in pretty raw. And you can see I'm up against some super easy people there with the Conzio, who of course you may know from previous Gran Turismo World Tours. He has of course been sent away with Gran Turismo, so he's leading the charge. He's going to be very, very tough to beat. But the Stig, there's plenty of good people in here. We're going to have to wait and see how I go. I'm not holding a great deal of faith that I'm going to go overly well. I don't know how the DR points are going to be, but nonetheless, best of luck to everyone that's in the race. Hopefully, if you did the Nations Cup, you also had a good race. But it is time for qualifying, so I don't know how I'm going to go. It's always a little bit easier. Oh, there you go. There's at least one KTM, but I think everyone else is in the Ferrari F50s, as I suspected it would be. People are going to be pretty keen to get out of the pits. I'm just going to let a few people go my usual tactic of trying to get to the back and finding some space. And yeah, we'll see how we go. There's a lot of people sitting in the pits at the moment, but that's okay. We'll give them a little bit more time. People getting a little bit fidgety. There's a car up ahead I can't recognise, but I think that's probably enough. We're not at blistering high pace anyway. And of course, it's always easier to get a really super fast lap time. I think I'm okay to leave now. It's always a lot easier to get a really fast lap time when you're just out punching out lap after lap. Of course, tyre wear is going to be on here. Fuel burn's going to be on. So it's going to be hard to match the times, and sometimes you're better off sort of practicing on race pace, which is normally where I like to do. I struggle a little bit to get super fast single laps, like quali laps. I'm a lot better at getting a good, nice, consistent race pace, and I tend to perform better in races than I do in qualifying itself, as I fat finger the pedals, fat foot the pedals. I don't know how you say it, but anyway, I've managed to push the clutch and the brake at the same time. I've got plenty of space back here, so that is one good thing. We'll get around this, see what sort of laps we can do. I don't know what tyre burn, like tyre wear is going to be like. No practice there or anything. I really was just punching out lap times as quick as I could in the lead up to this to try and get some practice. It's not a track I've actually raced on for a little while. I still don't know the track that well, so I kind of had to learn the track. Then I learnt the KTM. Finally gave up on that and went the same as what everyone else is doing, which is the Ferrari F50. So hopefully I can not totally embarrass myself, not qualify last and come last. But we'll see. So you probably saw the amount of points I got. It was just under 1,000 points for round 1. Again, you'll have to go and check out race 1 to see how I ended up at that point. Already 7.5 minutes remaining. Essentially 2-minute laps in these cars. So we're not really flush with time, but it's trying to put my race face on, not literally. Not my other race face. And see if I can set a semi-competitive lap time. Obviously, you'd never quite go as fast, so a 46 is going to be a tough task for me. I'd like to at least be in a low 47, but we'll see how we go. And off to a magnificent... Wow. So, we won't worry about this lap. Honestly. At this point, you know what? I'm actually better off going back into the pits and starting again. Off to an absolutely cracking start. Let's get out and do this outlap, hopefully, before the traffic catches up. So I really do like screwing myself over in qualifying. It's a trend after race 1. I wasn't happy with that. I've now cocked up turn 1 of my first flyer, so things are going well. But, of course, I've never promised to be the greatest Gran Turismo racer, but what I lack in skill and talent, I make up for in technical difficulties. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. If you stick around, it won't take you long to see the technical difficulties rear their ugly head as everyone else's lap times. I can't believe I did that. So that's quali half over now. So I'm going to get 2 real good cracks at this. I reckon 2 laps, and that's going to be it. I'm not sure I love the car. There's a lot of understeer, and the worst thing, because I did the bulk of my practice, which wasn't a lot, but I did the bulk of my practice in the KTM. Very, very different feeling car to the Ferrari. I'm not actually that far in front of the leaders as you look at the track map, but that's okay. I should be right. If my pace is decent, so straight away Kizza there has done a 46.8, which is a pretty decent lap, all things considering. Conzio currently sitting second and the Stig in third. So those 3 probably immediately flagged as 3 of the guys who are going to be tough to beat here. I don't think I'll have to worry about getting a podium position, but I just want to try and get a decent haul of points. Here we go, one more time. Try and get a slightly faster run onto the straight. Let's see if I can make turn 1. Will I do it? Who knows? Stick around. Things could get interesting, or in fact, very disappointing for all of us. I've kind of done it again. I've cocked up turn 1. 46.4 for the Conzio as he takes the top. Try and take that nice and shallow so I can get a bit harder on the throttle through here. Not done well there. It's okay, get a few looseners done. At least I've set a time through sector 1. So yay me, I guess. Missed the apex there again. Let's hope lap 2 on worn tyres is slightly better than this. So you can see people that have the luxury of enough time to stop, get a fresh set of boots with a lower fuel load. A luxury I gave up early on in my lap. Flat down through here. It's not going to be a good time, but it should get me on the board nonetheless. And then I'm going to have one more crack at it. So thinking this will be around about a 47. Yeah, it will be. Oh, maybe an 8. Oh, 48 flat. I've still cocked that up. I can't get turn 1 right. The KTM was just so good on the front end. This car is just understeer, which I struggle with. I've gone in too hot there as well. So not a good start to this lap. I'm not going to have time to do anymore. I'm just going to have to try and whack a third out. I can see I'm already two and a half tenths down. Another disappointing qualifying for me. This is becoming a theme of the FIAs. Just try and be smooth. See if I can recover that and go slightly faster. hard now. I don't have a delta. Flat through here. I feel like that sector might have gone slightly better. I'm only 2/100ths behind 15th, but man, 16th is awful. Yet again. I'm going to have one more crack, tyre wear and all. See if I can find a little bit more time. This one cuts 3/10 off, but come on turn one, I go in a bit slow that time. I've got on the throttle too early, it's pushed me wide. The front tyre wear, I was almost settling me down yet again. Life at the back of the top split. I am 3/10 up on my own time, so that is a good thing. Just try and be a little bit smooth. It's when you got a car that's nice and slow like this and it does understeer a bit, it's easy to overdrive it a bit, come into the corners a bit too fast. If you've got to stab at the throttle multiple times on the exit, you've probably not done your best work. A lot of understeer through there. Nonetheless, see if I can at least improve my time slightly. Like to steal a few spots, get closer to the top 10. But when you apply that throttle, you want to push it down hard and push it once. .46, it's going to be a low, okay, 47.2, so that third and final lap is the most decent. I've managed to score an 8th from it, so yay me. Lucky recovery there at the end because it was another average qualifying session, but I wanted top 10, I got top 10. And now I've just got to get through the race. It's such a big, wide, fast-flowing track that you don't make a huge amount of mistakes on it. And if you do, like I guess what I'm saying as I drop another spot to 9th, is I don't anticipate seeing lots of people fall off the track in the early stages. Some tracks you can kind of bank on being nice and clean and just let everyone else fall off the track around you. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Looks like this is a two-make race tonight, with the Crossbow and the Ferrari F50 being the only two options. Alrighty, it is race time. Coming out of 9th position, I'm looking forward to... I didn't even have time. I bought the Ferrari so late in the piece. I didn't even have time to put a livery on it. So at least some people, that looks like a current Ferrari-inspired, Formula 1-inspired livery. Conzio's just in the dirty old red car. I chose black because I thought, hey, everyone's going to be in red. I bought it so late in the piece that I didn't probably do enough qualifying laps on it. Very different car to drive from the Crossbow. I just couldn't extract any more. You had to drive that thing pretty loose. And in fact, it was very oversteery. In the final two turns, you could actually use that oversteer nature of the car to kick the arse out and tuck it into the corner. So very different driving. This one's a lot more understeery. You've actually got to slow down and use the power of this thing to make your lap time. There I am, coming out of 9th in the all-black Ferrari F50. Pretty boring. Here's Iron Mask has got a fancier livery there. But it looks like a lot of people, much like me, might have gone and bought the Ferrari at the last minute to do this. There's definitely a few names in this lobby I do recognise. Oh, a nice gold Rockstar F50 there. Figo back in 17th. races in 18th. Hopefully I don't find myself back here with these guys and Matt. In terms of pit strategy, I don't have one. I'm hoping not to pit at all. And there is someone who tried the Toyota SFR, very optimistic. I think that's an N100 car, so his theory was to increase the power until it's an N300. But nonetheless, here we go. It is race time. Let's see what I can do. Try and keep nice and clean, but I'm going to have to put the pace on. I don't want to pit at all. Got everybody swerving all over the place on the track. Righto. Lights out, and we are away. Sort of gap did we get? Okay, I feel like I'm a little bit closer to Iron Mask than the game put me to pubs. Turn 1's already a risk. I'll keep an eye on that radar, but hopefully we can just take it nice and careful. This next section up here is the nervous section. If anyone's feeling particularly optimistic, this is where I expect some funny business to take place. Flat out 100% throttle up the hill. You can actually run your left tyres just on the inside of that hot dog curb, and you can see how much of a better run it gives me up here on UNC Pubs. Tuck into his slipstream. He's going to see me coming though, so it's a bit early in the race to be worrying too much about that. Flat on the throttle. Unfortunately I couldn't tuck into the apex as Pubs was there in front of me. He does run very wide. Status quo. It's probably the worst thing about these slow N300 cars is overtaking is very difficult, especially when you're all in the same car at the same pace. One make racing at its finest. And there's not even really much of a slipstream to take advantage of. Got to try and get a good run onto the straight. That wasn't too bad. I made up a little bit of time on Pubs, but I did drag Iron Mask with me, so yeah, I'm not. You know, a lot of people are pretty split on whether or not they think the N300 is a good class or anything this slow has a place in the Nations Cup. As I slightly kiss him, just softly. If you get that hot dog sausage curb, whatever you want to call it, going straight underneath the middle of the car, you don't bounce over it too much. But I was unable to get a better run on him this time round. Very slow into there. Overtaking is going to be tough. It's all going to have to be done under brakes. I don't like that old mate's next to me. I really wish he'd just back out of that. Otherwise there'll be contact here. There's no point in trying to overtake in silly spots, and it looks like he has done himself. He's a half a second back from me now. So I didn't probably get my run just right there, but if I can hold it flat. It's not showing up to be the most riveting of races. Might get a little bit more spicy. Oh dear. Might get a little bit more spicy when tyre wear starts to kick in a little bit more. Need some slipstream. See, Black even ran onto the grass then, but doesn't seem to have lost much in terms of pace. Not the best track for overtakes either. There is a couple of spots that are good. Might have swallowed a little bit too much curb. It's always harder when you're following another car so closely to get your lines exactly right. Looks like Iron Mask has got a run on me, but I'm going to make him go around the outside. As we all bunch up again through the hairpin. Yet again, he's going to try and overtake in what I can only describe as being a stupid spot to try and overtake. But I guess you take what you can. Keeping it nice and close. Not much going on anywhere really. I'm not seeing a lot of overtakes on the left-hand side. Even though I was close enough then to get a run, to get some slipstream down this straight, the slipstream does not seem to play much of an effect here. Who will go first halfway through the race? But not a lot going on again. You could make the argument that there's really slow cars like this, especially on a big fast track, almost 2-minute laps we're doing. Not necessarily suited, not the most entertaining racing. So I'd be interested to know, as I make a little bit of comments there, a little bit of contact, and got the appropriate SR down arrow for my efforts there. He does go very slow into that chicane though. Oh, chicane into the hairpin. Words are really hard. I've forgotten how to talk just momentarily here. Such is the high-paced thriller that is round 2 of the Nations Cup. But I'm interested to know what you think, what your thoughts are on these really slow, low-class cars in the FIA sanctioned races. I mean, of course, it's good to show that you've got skills in all categories at all pace. Some people are really good at fast GR1 style high downforce cars, you know, and are rubbish at these slower cars. And of course, I guess it's nice to get a snapshot of how people go in all forms, all categories. But it probably doesn't make for the most entertaining racing. At least the consistency has been there for me so far. Tyre wear is really not substantial. Lap 5 of 9, and I swear I was I had worse tyre wear in qualifying. I've managed to gap Iron Mask by about a second, but I'm just hovering about half a second back from Pubs as well. Got on the throttle a bit prematurely there, but you can see I lost a big chunk of time to Iron Mask, but about status quo with the guys in front. And back on 100% throttle. Drop down to, what, 0.6 of a second now. Get on the throttle once, get on hard. So I'm 0.4 back within the slipstream, but again, my run, I must be catching up through that last turn where I am. Catching up in the last turn but losing it. So down to a 46.9. I've beaten my own qualifying time in race. 5 laps in. Again, making a habit of that. further evidence that I'm not great at setting one hot lap. My strength is in race trim. I was a bit rubbish from all four of us through there, actually. We're actually bunching up a little bit. It looks like 5th and 4th have sort of dropped back a little bit towards our group. Had to back out of that. There wasn't really a great deal I could do there. It's just not good for overtaking. I've got a better run through here though. Catch a bit of slipstream. I got a little bit of a boost from old mate behind. Here we go. Not much I can do. I actually had to back off out of the throttle. That's going to lose me a spot. I had to stay off the throttle a bit because Pubs, I was catching up and was going to make contact, so I'm going to end up giving up a spot here to Webb Carson. Not a great deal I can do about it. Everything is in slow motion in this race. As we go side by side, a little bit of contact. Both accounts there. Game hasn't seen fit to give any penalties or even an SR down arrow, so I guess on that occasion Gran Turismo has declared rubbing is racing, which is nice to see. We can actually do a little bit. As I do manage to bring her up to a complete stop. Not a great run out of the corner though. I'm going to hold it. So now I really want to get away from these two behind me. Try and catch back up to Pubs. That whole awkward situation came about. Oh, I've not done that very well actually. That whole awkward situation, losing a spot and having to get it back, all came about after fighting with Pubs. I'm going to have to make sure my run onto the straight's good here because Iron Mask is right behind me. Oh, he's gone up the inside. And another slow motion straight line drag. But again, I'm going to have to give it up to, this is Webb Carson. Does get a good run onto the straight. I've been held up, lost 2 spots out of that knot. See if I can tuck in behind Iron Mask here. Benefit from an overtake he's doing, but again, when you have to get out of the throttle, to avoid contact, that's when your competitors pounce. It seems like just a moment ago I was fighting for 8th. I think overall the 3 of us, Iron Mask, Webb Carson and myself, have all actually got a little bit more pace than Pubs. But as you've seen, overtaking is not easily done here. Doesn't help that I'm getting such a bad run onto the straight. I feel like I'm going alright. I'm 100% throttle flat through that last turn, but as we come into the last lap, I've dropped down to 11th. Not going to be ideal, and disappointing given that I qualified 9th as well. Pull up alongside, but I'm on the wrong side to try and enact an overtake here. Tried to think about an over and under, but had to turn too sharp, got on the throttle hard, and it just spat it out. So overall, unless something else happens here, I'm going to find myself 11th, which is disappointing because I had a much better spot in me. And I qualified better as well. This is where we might pick up a few cheeky spots if people are... you see Iron Mask out hard up against the wall. Tuck in behind webcast and see if I can't get a suck job across the line. That's one more spot made up, but I'm not quite going to get... Ooh. I'll tell you what though, how's that for a close finish? 4 cars all right around each other. Unfortunately, 10th's the best I could do. A little disappointing. I qualified 9th. I think I did have the pace to get up there and probably find. As you can see, Pubs ended up behind all 3 of us. I did say he did seem a bit slower. But yeah, anyway, as I said, interested to know your thoughts on the F300 class, or N300 class, sorry, or any of the slower cars, the lower speeds. What do you sort of think about including them in Nations Manufacturers Cups, the official FIA sanctioned ones, especially on large tracks like this? I think this would have been a much better suited track to, faster cars. And on somewhere like Tsukuba or Brands Hatch, for example, these cars I think would be brilliant. Perhaps not so good on such a big, fast, winding track. I got 950 points for a 10th, so that's pretty decent points. It does show you that I was in a pretty difficult lobby there. I dare say that was the top split lobby, because that's a lot of points for 10th. But again, that seems to be the way my FIA season is going. They're all the ones that got away. Anyway, hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, do remember to leave a like. It helps me out, helps the channel out, helps me to grow. And of course, if you're new around here, consider hitting subscribe. Check out my other content. I do live stream a couple of days a week. I'm going to be uploading, hopefully, all of the FIA races, or at least as many as I can do. I don't think I'll be sent overseas to race or anything like that, but we're going to have a bit of fun, hopefully learn a few things. And how did you go? Did you do the FIA, the nations, or the manufacturers? Pop it in the comments. Let me know how you went. I really am interested to hear. And of course, if you really want to jump into my Discord, it's an awesome place. Everyone's there. So get in there. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. I can't wait to talk to you all next time. But for now, it's goodbye.